Whenever I find something that makes my life easier, especially here in the gym, I like to tell people about it. But sometimes telling people isn't enough. Sometimes telling doesn't tell the whole story. And that's why we're shooting this video today, to show you just how cool this particular product for your gym is.
Wow.
Hey everybody, it's Tim with GymCrafter.com, back at you with another video. And today we're going to be talking about barbell care and maintenance. Now, whether you just own one all-around barbell or whether you own a bunch of them like I do, one of the most important things you can do with your barbells is to maintenance and clean them regularly. Now, that can be done with a microfiber cloth, that can be done with a brush, that can be done with a variety of tools. I like to use a brush. Get chalk on these bars, we get some skin that comes off, you get dirt, you get grime, and if you don't clean that stuff off and you really don't get in the groove of the knurling, you're gonna have bars that corrode and fail over time. Now, barbell brushes traditionally have been kind of garbage. They started off as just, a $3 brush you could buy on Amazon, and those will work, but they take a long time and don't always do the best job. And over the last 5 or 7 years, you've seen some companies come out with some different versions that have different features that make them easier to use, more effective, faster. So today what I want to take a look at, I want to take a look at your 3 most common barbell brush options. I want to show you them in action so that you can actually see which one works better. So I get a lot of questions about why would I spend more on this brush versus this brush. And today, hopefully with this demonstration, you're going to see that. So let's head on down to the floor where I've got a bar all chalked up and 3 brushes ready to go. And we'll test them side by side and I'll show you which one works better and why. All right, everybody, down here on the floor, and you'll see why in a second, but I've got this bar. This is the Rep Black Diamond Power Bar, and I've got it all nice and chalked up. I had a couple of sessions this morning. I added a little extra chalk to the knurl just to show you this demonstration. But this is if you work in a gym or you have a gym at home where you use chalk, your bars end up kind of looking like this quite a bit. And one of the reasons that you want to get rid of this chalk is the whole point of chalk is it takes the moisture away, so it helps your sweaty palms. The other thing that it does is it actually absorbs the moisture from the air and will deposit it in the knurling on your bars. So one of the worst things you can do for your bars is to leave chalk on them. So let's take a look at the best ways to get this chalk off so that you don't end up with a rusty bar. Now, where the chalk came from, if you didn't see one of my last videos, we've been using the Grit Stick by Pure Grit Fitness. Love this thing. It's really the best way to do chalk. If you notice, there's not a lot of chalk on the floor. It mostly ends up on your hands or on the bars. So check that video out. Now I've got these 3 sections chalked up because I've got 3 different brushes to show you. Now, the first one is, this came with a kit that I bought that had some bar oil in it and a microfiber cloth, and they sent this brush. And this is typically what people have used in the past. You can buy a brush like this on Amazon for $3 or $4, and it will definitely work. So what I want to do is that this middle section here, which is the smallest section of knurling that I've got chalk on, let's go ahead, and I'll speed up the video while I'm doing this, but let's go ahead and use this brush to take all the chalk off. Now, one more thing I want to point out, all 3 brushes have been run through the dishwasher, so they're perfectly clean. You will see at the end of the video why that's important, but let's start cleaning this brush, or cleaning this bar off and get this chalk out of here. All right, there we go. We've got a nice clean bar. It didn't take too long, but I want to point out a couple of things. Number one, bunch of chalk here on the floor. So where that chalk went, it didn't stay on the brush. The brush is still perfectly clean. It's either on the floor, or if you could pick it up on the camera, I'm not sure this will pick it up, but that chalk was just kind of going everywhere. So what'll happen tomorrow when I come in the gym is when I clean my bars like this, I'm gonna see a fine coat of dust and chalk kind of all over everything in the gym. And it's one of the reasons I really hated using this particular brush. That and the fact that, as you notice, I had to keep turning the bar and moving it to try and brush the thing. So people looked at this and realized it wasn't the best decision, and they introduced a brush like this. Now this is they call it a 360 barbell brush. However, it does not bend all the way around the brush. But the nice thing about this brush is it bends and it flexes so that it actually covers about half of a bar. So when you put it on the bar and grip it, it covers half. So what that allows you to do is, number one, it gives you a much better grip. Number two, it speeds up cleaning the bar by wrapping around a lot of it instead of having to, you get it. So let's take this one. We're gonna clean off this section of the knurl with this brush and show you exactly how it is. Now this is a very good brush, and I'll put a link in the description to get one of your own. These come in a set with a microfiber cloth. It works really well. It's a less expensive option than the third one that I'm gonna show you. And it works pretty well, so let's take a look. All right, so there we go. Now I want you to notice two things, which really surprised me when I bought this brush. Number one, did you notice that it took longer with this brush than it did with this brush? So for some reason, the way that these bristles are spread out, they don't actually get inside the knurl. Now again, this is the Rep Black Diamond bar. It's got a medium aggressive knurl. The cuts in between the knurl points are pretty deep. That's why I use this. It tends to hold chalk, and the chalk tends to stick in there quite a bit. And while it's nice to be able to, wrap it around like that, what happens is this brush tends to just kind of push it back and forth a little bit. Again, all of your chalk ends up on the floor here, and then the cloud of chalk, and then, so good option. It's quicker as far as wrapping around the bar. If I had just these two, I would for sure grab this one when I wanted to clean my bars, and I end up cleaning my bars every day after use now. 6 of one, half a dozen the other. This one's probably got a slight edge. Now let's take a look at this guy. This is called the Barbell Rescue, and you've seen me mention this a bunch of times before, but I've never actually shown you how it works. And the Barbell Rescue has a couple of cool things. Number one, it's a true 360. So, and actually, technically, I think it's about 320 degrees, but it wraps completely around the bar. I don't have to turn the bar, I don't have to turn the brush. It just wraps right around like that. Second cool thing about this is, let's say that you want to clean like a curl bar or an easy bar or something like that. You can actually pull these pads out. Now you can pull these pads out, you can get different colors, you can change them out, you can replace them if they wear out. But what I like about this is it gives me the ability to clean bars that aren't straight. So I can pull that out and do that. So that's another nice thing. And then the last thing that I really like that makes this kind of the optimal barbell brush for me is this clamshell case. It's spring loaded, and what it does is instead of your chalk going all over the floor and all the dirt and debris, it tends to stay in the brush a lot more. Now it's not perfect, it doesn't keep every bit of chalk and dirt in the brush, but when I clean this side of the bar, what you'll see is you'll see the difference between this and these two. So let's take this, let's wrap the barbell brush around here, and let's get this thing cleaned. We are done. Notice that it got everything off. Now, there's still some chalk in the air, there's still some chalk on the ground, but what you'll notice is a lot of the chalk and the dirt are actually in here. So when I'm cleaning my barbells, there's much less of a mess. But today I wanted to show you, when I look at this bar, did I get it all cleaned off? This is definitely the cleaner section. This is the next cleanest, and then this one is the least clean. There's still some stuff to be cleaned off. Now, if I just took this and went over all of them, boom, we're done. So I just did the whole bar, like under 3 seconds. It really works well. And then one last tip for you. I do like to have the bars instead of horizontal to stand the bar on end and then run it this way. That does a couple of things. Number one, it tends to have instead of pushing the chalk back and forth across the bar, it all comes out. Now it does make a little bit more of a mess on the floor because it's holding it like this and doesn't catch as much. But I do like using that because it's a bit faster. So I can pop a bar off the wall, set it on its end, run this up and down the shaft a couple of times, insert your own joke there, and then I've got clean barbells. So that's what I've got for you today. I know that's kind of a long video about a barbell brush, but the reason I wanted to make this is this thing is a little more expensive than a lot of people want to spend, but I promise you that once you get it and use it, you'll go, oh, that's why it costs that, and it's worth every penny. So that's the Barbell Rescue. I'll put a link in the description below. Give us a like, give us a share if you like this type of video. Let me know if you've got other barbell cleaning solutions in the comments below, because I've got a whole gym of stuff to take care of. So the less time I have to spend cleaning it, the more time I get to spend using it. But until next time, I'm Tim with GymCrafter.